Welcome to the 3CX headquarters and thank you for joining us for the launch of 3CX version 15. I'm Nick Galea and I'll start off with a 15-minute walkthrough of the main highlights, followed by a live Q&A session with the 3CX team. V15 is a major step forward, built on 10 years of experience in software PBX and incorporating feedback from our partners, our customers. We've created the next generation unified communication solution. So what's new? It's the first zero admin PBX. We made installation easier and quicker. We raised the bar on hackers. We made it easier to deploy in small offices. Designed a new management console. We improved the UI for 3CX users. We built better integrations with more applications. And we re-engineered web conferencing. And it's even more competitive. An important consideration for V15 was to reduce ongoing maintenance to almost nothing and bring the first zero admin PBX to market. Now we've automated so many aspects of running 3CX, there's no need to move to an expensive cloud service which takes away control and customizability. Key component of that zero admin is the brand new dashboard. It lets you monitor everything from a single screen. See the status of your computer or virtual instance with the CPU, memory and disk monitoring charts. Get key health information of your PBX, trunks, services, blacklisted IPs, and critical system events. Monitoring your PBX has never been easier. It's not just monitoring that makes up zero admin, it's keeping your system up to date with the latest features and security updates. This is where 3CX shines. Updates are downloaded and deployed in minutes. We'll manage the phones for you too. 3CX certified firmwares are automatically downloaded and can be deployed to all phones network-wide with a few mouse clicks. And we've further improved backup and restore and made failover even easier. With the new Enterprise Edition, you get a standby license included. With 3CX, having a fully redundant system requires almost no additional admin. 3CX was already the easiest to install PBX around, but now it's literally a 15-minute walk in the park. We've removed the headache of creating an FQDN and buying and configuring a security certificate. Just select the 3CX supplied FQDN with your choice of subdomain and have the SSL search created and managed by 3CX. You can still use your own DNS and SSL search if you want. We added the ability to use dynamic IPs for testing purposes. Remote phones are a key feature of 3CX and ever more popular, but it wasn't as easy to configure as an IP phone on the LAN. Now, thanks to the new 3CX provisioning servers, you can just enter the MAC address in 3CX, plug in the phone anywhere in the world, and have it securely provisioned to your 3CX phone system. It's foolproof. VoIP hacking is on the rise and internet security is an increasing concern. We wanted to make V15 bulletproof and set the standard in PBX security. All tunnel connections from the clients or via the SBC are now automatically encrypted. It's easier than ever to enable SRTP encryption of voice traffic. And the web server has a more secure configuration with a complete lockdown of the provisioning directory. SIP attack tools are automatically detected when they run against 3CX and blacklisted. We have cooperated with Let's Encrypt, allowing us to give out trusted certificates to all companies that don't have their own. This means all supported phones are now provisioned over HTTPS. All connections through console and with the clients are over SSL. This drastically increases security and has earned us the A+ rating from SSL Labs. Dedicated appliances make sense in small offices where no server is available. So we sought to make 3CX more appliance friendly. To do that, we had to reduce the 3CX footprint. After 15 versions, it was time to merge similar functions and remove excess code, allowing us to reduce services and decrease memory usage. To deploy 3CX on any version of Windows for any size of deployment, we moved to Nginx, a secure, modern, and compact web server used by the likes of NASA. Now 3CX will run happily on mini PCs such as this one, a fanless machine with Intel architecture, SSD drives, and costing less than $100, including the Windows license. perfect for up to 32 SIM calls. Now you can avoid those black box PBX appliances that will surely become an admin nightmare. The management console has been completely rewritten using Google's Web Toolkit and sports a modern look. More importantly, it works faster and better. Key functions are grouped together to allow for more intuitive operation. The phones page is improved. Easily add phones, check firmware levels and status of 3CX clients. Log into a phone's web UI right from the console, without the hassle of copying and pasting credentials. Leave phone password management to 3CX and make the passwords highly secure. SIP trunk configuration is now easier with DIDs assignable to extensions and queues, without the need for inbound rules. The 3CX client has been updated to a modern look. We've given presence more importance, whilst keeping the soft phone-like usability. And there are new, better-looking themes, including the possibility to add a custom background or logo. Integration with third-party applications such as CRM and help desk systems was an area in which we felt 3CX needed to improve. So we set to work. First off, we now support more apps out of the box. We're at 10 integrations with many more to follow soon. You no longer need to install a desktop component. Integrations can be deployed and controlled centrally from the management console. But we didn't leave it at that. We built an easy-to-use scripting interface that encapsulates the powerful 3CX client API and makes it easy to integrate with any CRM or contact center software out there. We've added the source of our own integrations in there too. Build custom integrations, including outbound call scripts, to suit your business better. We believe integrated video conferencing is a key component of a unified communication solution, and it shouldn't require additional software, administration, or even licensing. It must be open standards-based, WebRTC of course, and without forcing you to compromise on pure telephony features. And with V15, we've been able to achieve all of this. First off, the core web meeting functionality is now much better. New single stream technology improves video quality whilst reducing bandwidth usage. We've added support for Firefox, improved our iOS client, and added an Android app for an improved mobile experience. Web conferencing is now automatically set up in 3CX phone system, no further steps required. Meeting organization is more user-friendly, and you can personalize the interface with your own logo. Each 3CX user now has a personal click-to-meet URL for easy, instant web meetings. You can use them in queues as well, and queue remote control and web meeting requests to your customer service department. And the icing on the cake, we're making 3CX even more competitive. We're reintroducing the popular free edition, and this time for up to 8 SIM calls, with a great feature set, yet leaving enough reason to go to a commercial edition. We've reduced the price of the smaller licenses and included the hotel module functionality in the Pro edition. So that's 3CX 15 in a nutshell. We'd love to hear your questions. You can post them in the comments box below. Hello again and welcome to the live Q&A. With me I have my colleagues Nick Borg, Product Manager, and Stefan Walther, Head of Support and Training.
Hi.
So did we have any good questions?
Yeah, Nick, during your first presentation already the first question came in, and we're hoping you're posting a couple of more for us so we can answer as best as possible in our live Q&A session today. Maybe we kick off the whole questions with a question from Paul. His question is, how many license types are there now, and is there no more free edition? Maybe Nick, you want to take that straight away?
First of all, we have a new PBX edition. Basically, we have upped the number of simultaneous calls to 8, which is a really good number, and it's a good way to evaluate 3CX with the possibility of upgrading your license key later using the setup that you already have. So the PBX edition is going to have 8 SIM calls, 5 web meeting connections, on our new web meeting infrastructure. And then you can upgrade then to the standard professional, the standard license, professional, and an enterprise license, which is coming on the way, which will have features like integrated failover and other enterprise features that you would need in a business.
Perfect.
Okay.
Another nice question came in from Skyper, a 36 Gold partner, asking if the holiday settings has been changed, so the possibility of given if holidays can now time based on a day and not fully 24 hours. Skyper 0007, let me have good news for you. With version 15, this is a feature which has been introduced. You can set now per day the start and the end day when this holiday should take place. And another option which has been introduced, you can directly create ranges, so you don't need to add day by day by day, so you can have one full standard block which should cover your holidays, which then take your DID routing out of place and forward all your incoming calls to this specific IVR with your prompt laid behind it.
Well, we have many questions coming in. We can't keep up, but there's one on the SBC I would like to comment on. Does the SBC reconnect if the internet is down? Yes, this was a problem in previous builds, but we have made massive improvements to the new SBC. The SBC will reconnect when the internet is down, and all the phones behind the SBC will reconnect automatically. We have added encryption, automatic encryption, which secures the endpoint between the SBC. So basically your small office is all passing audio and video in an encrypted way to the server. We're passing calls also. The SBC now is multi-threading, okay, supports multi-threading. So it can handle much more calls and it can handle much more endpoints connected to it. So those are, we're looking forward to publish some statistics on the tests we've made on the SBC, and they're very impressive. So look out for it.
Yeah. Nick, I have a question maybe here for you, coming from Anthony, a Platinum partner, and he would like to know what the roadmap for the cloud server of version 15 will be.
Good question, thank you for that. Well, after we finish the single instance version, we're looking to update the multi-tenant version. We'll probably need another few months to do that. It's quite a bit of work. There's also the holiday in between, so expect September, early October.
Perfect. Another question came from Matthias to our chat here. Well, it's going really quick. I need to keep my eye out so we can get the most of your question answered. And it's a question, hi 36, can we upgrade from version 14 to version 15? Matthias, in normal upgrade passes between major versions, which means 12, 12.5, 14, and now to version 15. Always requires that you make a backup of your current running system, uninstall and install the latest major version, and simply restore the backup, which is now directly integrated in the PBX configuration wizard. So no need, as it was in 14, to run the first full setup and then after restore your backup. So I think we brought a feature back which we used to have in previous version to simplify and speed up your deployment. For people with low version 14, other good news as well, 12.5 users also can jump directly to version 15, including their call history, which will be then imported in an additional step, which is outlined in our support guide. So check on our support guides on /support how this can be done.
We have some questions on WebRTC links and web meeting. I'll answer them both together, okay? So what happens with WebRTC links, and also a question on collaboration, not only UC. Do you have plans to include collaboration? So basically now, 3CX clients have integrated web meeting, which can offer links like click to meet, okay? And the collaboration between this type of new product is by far much more advanced than WebRTC, because it's not a one-to-one anymore, it's a one-to-many. And the clients are going to have webinar profiles and also collaboration profiles with settings preset, so people that want to organize quick meetings don't need to choose certain settings on how to make a webinar, for example. In a webinar, you'd need moderation on. When you're collaborating with your colleagues, you would need that off. So there are many features coming in web meeting, and that will be the replacement of WebRTC, click to meet.
I've seen a lot of questions come up for this device. To elaborate on it, well, basically this is a 2 GB memory version. There's also a 4 gig memory version. So basically the 2 gig is about $60, $70. The 4 gig version is about $100. And basically it's a great way to run a 3CX, especially in smaller offices. We're going to work on a blog post which will explain to you in more detail where you could buy. There are actually several manufacturers of these devices. This one is a Wintel specifically. And I think it's going to be a great way to deploy 3CX. So subscribe to our blog and you'll find more information about it there.
Yeah, I saw a question of Tippy Phone with the question, it's possible to connect a connection with a reverse directory like in the web, not like LDAP or ODBC directories. Well, directly from the PBX, this would be not a PBX functionality, but the integrations of version 15, especially in the 3CX phone client, have been much, much more simplified. It's a very easy to learn scripting language. And from there out, you can basically attach your 3CX phone to any web service reverse directory lookup you are preferring to like. I can tell you we have for our German customers something ready. The sample codes of these will be all released, which is a ClickTel phone book, which reversed basically on incoming calls the numbers to a name on a match, and you can just take this sample and build this to your custom needs in your country where you're watching us from.
And to just add to this, I've seen a few about Raspberry. I'd like to comment again on this machine. This is just a little bit more expensive than a Raspberry and it's much more performant. So you can run it on a Raspberry, but it's much better to go for this.
I'm seeing many questions on the dashboard and very positive ones. We are very happy that you like the new dashboard. We've invested a lot of time in it. And well, the dashboard is like a link to the whole PBX. From there you can control, manage, see the activity, see the status, check the CPU usage, memory, how the system is going, whether it's busy or not. Purge features have been added, like the purging of chat, exporting. So yeah, there are also some comments on more import and export functions. We have added a lot of import exporting functions, and we plan to add more also. And one more important thing, also comments on monitoring and performance counting. We also have the events page in that page, and you can show the most the events are categorized, okay, with severity statuses. And you can show the critical events or purge events. So there are many management features that the admin will definitely like.
And for sure, it's now responsive design in a fast-moving world now. Personally, I see it in my own life, is that I don't carry my notebook anymore with me, and if I need to do some changes, I do that quickly from my iPhone and my iPad, which was not possible or not very convenient in version 14, and it's really easy now to do, and it looks super cool. I really like it. I got a question from Jose here, and the question is a little bit, why the ISS option is being removed, and is there now only Abyss as web server being used? Nicky, you, me?
Before we had IIS and Abyss, right? And some features were on IIS only, some on Abyss. But at the end of the day, 3CX did not need. IIS was on Windows only. It had Windows updates that interfered. It was too intimate to the operating system. So, and those also, we had a problem communicating this because different people wanted different web server features, custom ports. So we went for Nginx. Nginx is a powerful web server available. The configuration of Nginx is so simple and so straightforward, and we are very flexible and very happy with the performance of Nginx as well. So we have one web server now. You can still customize ports. And also one more thing is Let's Encrypt. Let's Encrypt is a community of a group of companies, big companies, all coming together, Cisco, Google, and these guys want to make free SSL trusted certificates for all of us without having to go on the management nightmare of renewing these certificates every year. If you have a wildcard certificate or a bunch of zones, these are going to cost money. Let's Encrypt and 3CX is 3CX has in the installation immediate integration with Let's Encrypt, where we ask for a host name and you can create your own certificate, trusted.
I see, let me answer a question. I see a lot of people asking about the reports. The reports are largely the same compared to version 14 at this point, although we have the call logs, which you can now retrieve from the web interface immediately. You still have to schedule the reports, and they will be sent by email immediately. We do plan to add many more reports in future service packs, so by the end of the year we'd expect that there'll be many more new reports available within the 3CX Pro edition. I've also seen other questions about the free edition. What are the limitations of the PBX edition, the free PBX edition? The main things are that we have the reports, the call queues, and there's only a single SIP trunk. But other than that, it's a fully functional system.
Yeah, perfect. Coming back quickly to Let's Encrypt in the web server, Jamie Fraser posted a question to us. Jamie, will you implementing DNS-based auto-renewal or creation of the Let's Encrypt certificates? Yes, this is already in place, so it is not mandatory to have Let's Encrypt while your web server of 3CX will run on port 80 or 443. You can choose literally every port you like, and we will manage and be able to create for you the Let's Encrypt certificate and manage from there on after.
We have many comments on the wallboard, I can see here, and for the wallboard for now is also the same as it was in version 14, but we are planning to also make some changes there, and we encourage all you users to go and post your ideas for the wallboard on our ideas page. So we have a voting system, and the more votes we get on each idea, the quicker it gets into the release.
And to add to that, in the last release, we've looked at the top ideas, which are the top 20 ideas, and most of them have been implemented. So we're trying to go through all the questions. I have to say it's quite hard. There are so many questions to be able to answer them all. But if you have certain feature requests, go to the ideas page, and we review them all there. And we try to do as many as we can. I've seen a few about TAPI. The TAPI at the moment is exactly as it was in version 14. It works. It says here, one of the questions is we want it back, but it's still there. However, you need to deploy it separately. It cannot be deployed centrally from the management console. But other than that, the TAPI is still there.
A couple ones I saw as well, so we grab them up, and I will just take as reference David from you found the question. Since the whole architecture of the management console is now API driven, will there be access through the API to do all the same operations, or what is the status of the API currently? When version 15 will be, RC2 today as a download, and then from Monday onwards will be available. The first version will not include API, but technically speaking, all API functions you see can do exactly the same what the management console will do, but in a very reduced overhead in deploying such customized additions to it. We were just before at integrations with TAPI, Nick, and Jose sent us a question, will be there support for SAP planned?
The new CRM integration will allow for much easier adaptation of new CRM systems, and we also encourage the community to work actively towards developing integrations. However, SAP is one of those that we've planned to do ourselves, and as time permits, we will try to do that by the year end to have SAP support as well available in the Pro Edition.
However, the integration features with custom third-party CRM software in version 15 has been improved a lot, and you can now make your own plugin. We're going to release documentation for that via a template from Visual Studio, and you can also develop your own plugin, upload it to the 3CX management console, and after go to each extension and assign this plugin to work for that extension. When the 3CX client sees it has an update, together with its binaries, it also downloads the plugin to the user's machine. That means less administration overhead for your IT department to have to go on each desk and install this plugin manually. And from then onwards, a new UI will be displayed in the client, which is provisionable, and basically the plugin starts to work. Incoming, outbound calls, incoming calls, notification, create contacts. Possibilities are endless. Depends on the CRM API that you're using.
I'm seeing a question here whether the 3CX phone client needs to be updated. It's going to be completely automatic. So when you deploy version 15 and you have version 14, the clients will be automatically updated. So zero admin.
I have a question here which is very support related. We see that very often in support. Engar Zaha, do you planning to get your recommendations about what server resources, CPU, RAM, disk OS is needed per each license? As I see this in the support department, often let me take the opportunity to generalize this. We can write these guides, of course, per license key. However, it is not 100% satisfiable what we will write there, depending extremely of what you are going to do with these type of installations. Why I'm saying it in this way, you can of course have a 4SC simultaneous call PBX version 15 and deploy it with 1,000 users, technically speaking possible. For sure, the guidelines we will write for you on the guide will of course satisfy not for these type of installations. The big cut of what is an estimated setup is already online. Just search on 3cx.com for recommended hardware and you will see the exact guidelines where you should base your installation on. If you have a much more specific case, open us a ticket in the support and we are more than happy to help you out in these questions to justify on the point what you need.
We have a question here from Hugo. How can we upgrade from version 14 to version 15? It's a question that comes up with each major version. And I'll quickly describe the process. So you have your version 14 installation. After you've evaluated version 15, you can take a backup of your current installation. Ideally, you would have the recording spot configured to a common location. Yeah, so you don't have to add the recordings and the voicemails to the backup. Yeah, so recordings would be already left in place. You take a backup without recordings, and you'll uninstall 3CX version 14 or 12.5, and then you download version 15, install, go through the PBX configuration tool, and then you will be asked to restore, to point your backup and restore the backup that you have. Since the recordings are there, then everything will come up working with the with the old recording path pointed to the recordings folder. And that's the procedure how it works. Your license will be automatically activated and everything will be restored. For 12.5 users, we've made a small tool that after post-install, after everything is restored except call history, you run this tool which gets your call history from the backup and converts it into the new version 15 format. So you don't have to go from 12.5 to 14 and then from 14 to 15. You can go from 12.5 directly to version 15.
And I think a lot of customers will love this feature.
Absolutely, because they can upgrade quicker to the latest version.
Yeah, for sure.
Questions about the wallboard I've seen. Thank you for that. At the moment, the wallboard is as it is in version 14, but we're looking to add more views with more options in the immediate future. So put those feature requests on the idea and also describe clearly which new views you'd like to see for the wallboard. There's also a question about the VAD. I've seen several questions about that. Okay, the VAD is going to be slightly different. It's going to work. We're going to update it, and it's going to work in combination with the CRM API that we've been talking about. So the VAD will generate scripts for that module, run at client level, and be much more programmable and have many more features. But we're going to need a few more months to be able to release that to market.
There's a question from Buff1310 asking, what about video conference on smartphones? If you have seen in the presentation of Nick Galea before, there are now dedicated clients for iOS and Android which just boost your experience while enjoying a web meeting on your smartphones. For iOS it is already released, and the Android version also. Also, so head in the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store, get a copy of it and enjoy. And another question shortly from Anthony Hudson, Platinum partner, asking if the simultaneous call license counting has been changed. No, it is exactly the same. The call license counting is unchanged from all previous versions, meaning internal, external count, incoming, outgoing calls are all consecutive as one call, and the rest days unlimited extension, and off you go.
We have a question about the hotel module, asking what about the hotel module? Well, we have some interesting plans for the hotel module, because it's not going to be what we've had before. Yeah, it's not going to be a separate installation like all the previous versions of the hotel we've had. The hotel module is now going to be integrated into the management console. So what we'll be looking at in the future is a new tile in the settings page, which would be activated, which will be enabled pending a particular license. Not sure about that yet, but you will see a tile. And from this tile, you can actually configure all the features you could configure before with the previous hotel module. But it's integrated, so you can give rights to the front desk reception to log in. All the features that we had before will be moved in different places, like many features like to set a room, a room as occupied or available. The certain features will move to the client side. It would not be a dashboard that we had before. But the plans for the hotel are to be moved inside the management console, and it will be one unified system for hotels as well.
A short one for Zach, just posting a question about the iOS client for version 15. Zach, you can take the version 14 client for the moment. The only thing which will change in a couple of days will be the version 14 tech will be removed from the product name in the iOS store, and the app gets slight updates for the moment until we are preparing a bigger release during the next couple of months to enhance some upcoming features for iOS 10 probably.
Got a question from Chris Aztec. When will the new pricing and the comparison will be available? Thank you, Chris, for the question. So basically we plan to release version 15 and make it available for purchase and download, and all this information will be posted next Monday. So that's when it will be available for sale, and all the information will be on our website beyond what we have today.
Matthew Roth, an interesting question. Thank you for that. Can people call into web meeting? We've invested a lot of development into the web meeting platform for version 15. We have a new infrastructure and a new way of creating meetings. Yeah, but apart from that, we are also working on the ability to be able to call in. Yes. It will come in a couple of months, but yeah, people will be able to, people who are, for example, on the phone will be able to call in, and there will be like, it will be like SIP to WebRTC and they will be able to join the video conference together with the other participants.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Silver partner came up with a question: is it possible to report now on maximum simultaneous calls? Let me tell you, for the moment being, this is not implemented yet, but you see the first hint that this will be possible in a sooner state is when you head to the dashboard, you already see a live stat of your maximum used concurrent calls within the dashboard of the PBX, and from there we will take it, of course, data providing, let it be, to another level, so you have better reporting exactly on this feature.
There's also a question I've seen that if you install RC2 today, will you need to reinstall on Monday? No, it'll be an automatic upgrade, but the plan is that RC2 will be the final version.
Harish Kumar is asking, what is the maximum number of active users recommended with the new version 14? Well, this also is a question that depends a lot on the network you have available, how your network is set up, and also on the strength and power and resources your machine has. Yeah. Also, we'll be releasing graphs and the bulk test results of the tests we do internally. Okay, we simulate tests with a lot of clients. Okay, and we're looking forward to release this information, especially with the new Nginx web server. Okay, 3.6 version 15 can handle much more clients than the version 14 used to handle, and we're also doing tests like with a lot of chat history and call history. coming from previous years. Normally in the business, you would not, you would have this chat history and call history accumulates over the years. So the more you have, the more we need to make sure that the system remains responsive at all times, and also that clients can get this information. So we're looking forward to release that data soon.
I also have a question here from about, is there a client for the Chromebook? Well, not specifically for the Chromebook, but I can tell you that we're working on a web-based client, which also answers some other questions I saw about web-based wallboard. We're going to work on a web-based client that will also have a WebRTC-based soft phone in it, and of course the switchboard that is in the 3CX client will then be web-based, and you can use it as well. So that should cover a lot of requirements from different platforms to different features that you want to see web-based.
Posting one out here, will the new admin console work with Edge or Internet Explorer? Asked by Gustavo Brock. Good news for you, Edge will be now fully supported. On the bad side, your Internet Explorer will work. However, some limitations or fields will be grayed out, which is due to the new modern design, which can't be handled by the Internet Explorer. You will find the link underneath the first login page to the management console, or the recommended browser to fully support every function within the new management console.
You've been voted for United States President, huh?
Nikki for President.
There goes Donald Trump.
Okay.
I'm seeing a question again from the port forwarding for remote extensions. Maybe that's one for you.
Yes, well, with the introduction now, of course, in version 15 of the RPS feature, remote provisioning service, it has a fact how the phone remotely will be provisioned to the 3CX phone system, and it makes it for the partner or the end user a perfect and a magical experience for the first time you see it working. But technically speaking, it does not remove the need how data from your reverse network need to traverse over the firewall or routing gateway from your LAN into the WAN. Therefore, it is still recommended to do port forwarding per extension, which is in the remote network. If you're communicating multiple phones, of course, in one remote network, then for sure it is advisable to use the 3CX session border controller. It has multiple benefits over stun remote extensions. Your data traffic stays in the remote network. The data traffic to the PBX over the unsecure network transport of the internet will be encrypted. So for certain phones, for limited amount, of course you need to do it, but I think it's acceptable to have a perfect result. If you go and plan multiple phones in a remote location, the SBC is the way to go forward.
We have a question here about Let's Encrypt from Bram. Can we use Let's Encrypt with our own domain name? Well, Let's Encrypt is, when the installation of version 15 starts, you have two options. Yeah? You can either use a 3CX domain, or you can use your own FQDN. Yeah? If you use your own FQDN, you have to ensure that you import the certificate file that you own, which should be trusted, and if it's a PFX, you put a password and whatever the installation asks you. You can go to Let's Encrypt yourself on your own behalf and make your own certificate with them and import it into 3CX. It would be the same thing. The only difference I see is that with that approach, you'd need to handle the renew process yourself. Yeah? So Let's Encrypt are offering certificates that expire after 3 months. So you need to make it a point that before the 3 months are over, you go to Let's Encrypt and you renew your certificate. We don't know whether this will change. I've read they might make it for a longer period of time, and it's just 3 months for now. But with 3CX FQDN, which still uses the same Let's Encrypt you would have been using in any way, with the renew process is done automatically. So there is a scheduling process that starts, and before the 3 months are over, we renew your certificate for the next 3 months. So that's one advantage.
Yeah,
of the service.
we're getting.
Joris Daniel asked a question, will be there more phones which we support in the provisioning? If you go already now on to 3CX.com/support, you will see all the phones we support, and you will for sure make an interesting discovery that 2 long time not listed devices you will find in the legacy support section. Go over and have a look at them.
I'm seeing a question about dynamic IPs, if it's a supported environment. No, for testing purposes, it's not really good for production purposes. It's not possible to run a PBX on a dynamic IP. If it constantly changes, you're going to have a lot of problems. You need a static IP. Maybe you want to elaborate on that, Stefan?
Absolutely. I agree, yes, absolutely. However, in version 15, we understand that many installations are being, from the statistics we receive, many installations are being installed behind the dynamic IP, which is unreliable, yeah, because you can't have a PBX, as Nick said. However, when your IP changes in version 15, we detect this change, and we automatically update the FQDN A record that we create if you're using a 3CX FQDN, and we automatically update it to point to the new public IP that we detected from the last change. However, it's unreliable. So if you're using a dynamic IP address as your public facing IP, then you need to be ready to have, like, for example, an hour of downtime, yeah, when this happens. So it's you can't have a PBX running reliably in production with a dynamic IP address.
But the PBX will dynamically update, I think in 1800 seconds default, its IP address, which is in the exchange with the IP phones. Just the other problem is the IP phones has a DNS cache. This DNS cache needs to resolve to an IP address. Of course, there will be a natural delay until the phone in your remote location, not so much the internal phones, know where the path to your PBX is, and then basically reconnects, so you have basically a full functional audio conversation with somebody. And therefore it is recommended that the IP address should be static, because the PBX is the center point of your communication.
If most dynamic IP environments only change IP every few months, then it will be reliable, yeah. As long as the IP does not change, it remains reliable, yeah. So it becomes unreliable because some ISPs change the IP every day.
Welcome to Germany. In Germany it's the case. Every 24 hours you will be assigned a new IP address.
Yeah, at least in Germany they change it in the night. So by the time you come in the morning and you start business hours, things are smooth. But there are some ISPs that change it ad hoc and you have no control of it. So at one point your client is talking to one IP and then it talks to thin air. So yeah, it's important. If it doesn't change, then you are running a reliable infrastructure.
If it changes frequently, yeah.
If it changes frequently, yes, then.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of questions for the Linux version. It's something we're looking at, and we're definitely preparing for a possible Linux version. So
we are very excited with having a Linux version of 3CX. We've been wanting to do this for many years, and finally I think we're going to make that a reality. So we're already preparing our core components to work on Linux.
So we'll need a few more months. So, but it's something we're looking at. It's not final yet, but something we're working on.
I'm not sure if one question pops up all the time by the same user, or multiple users are writing the same questions. Stefan is asking if there are plans for Ubiquiti phones. Let's make it very short in 2 answers. I have one here, and B, no plans for the moment.
That's a good answer.
Nginx equal Linux, yeah? The track where it may or may not go could be a hint that the IIS web server needed to go away.
The Nginx was also chosen, I think that's important, to allow you to use any version of Windows as the operating system. And if you wanted to use IIS, of course you needed Windows Server, which increased the cost of deploying 3CX. So Nginx was also chosen for that you can use it on Windows 7, 8 for any size of deployment.
Just coming in here, can the logo be changed of the 3CX phone by Silvio? Silvio, yes, if you check out the new version 15 client, or in the presentation of Nick Galea shortly, briefly to see in it, you can customize the top banner of the 3CX phone with your company logo or with any fancy logo you like, and you have your custom branding now even within the 3CX phone for your office.
We have a question here to customize mailbox prompts. We do have that feature, and you can set greeting messages to your voicemail introduction prompts. So when people call and are redirected to your voicemail, you can change this depending also on your current status that you're in. For example, if you're away, you can play, if you're away and calls come to your voicemail, you can play your away prompt, and if you're in Do Not Disturb, you can also modify a different prompt for Do Not Disturb. Or for the other profiles that you can configure. Please explain free 8 simultaneous license limitations for version 15 again. Okay, many comments on this. Basically, the PBX edition has 8 SIM calls, yeah? So 5 web meeting connections. There are no, the people that paid for version 14 8 SIM calls got a standard or professional license, which includes queues, reports, and all the Pro, and the Pro had also call center features. With the PBX edition, you don't get that. Okay, so 8 SIM calls, and it's a very good way to evaluate your system, and 1 SIP trunk, and
which is either PSTN gateway or a VoIP
good
provider,
to mention, yeah.
yes,
or ATA as well, yeah.
Yeah,
and yeah. So I hope that's clearer. No G7 to 9, and
no reports, no call
no
queues,
reports.
no
SIP
integrations, or no CRM integrations.
The reality is that it will be interesting for for customers to run, but we believe that within about 3 to 6 months, when they can see how much value it delivers for their business, that they'll be ready to spend basically the few $100s to upgrade to a commercial edition.
Yes, we had many people that told us that they cannot. We found that users cannot really evaluate 3CX with just 2 simultaneous calls. If you're making an outbound call using a SIP trunk, that's already, you can't make more calls, you can't make proper transfers. So with 8 simultaneous calls, you can work and evaluate much better.
Yeah, got a question. It's a while back, but now I'm backlogging a little bit on the questions we got in the beginning. What is this RPS feature within the 3CX phone system and how it needs to be enabled? The question came from David. David, you need to enable nothing for this feature in the moment. You just need an extension, a MAC address. In the provisioning option in the version 15, you just select it's a remote extension done, and you must ensure that this user got once its welcome email. Let the phone boot. The phone will ask the user for the extension number in the voicemail pin, and kind of magic, it will become the user's extension, and it will be configured securely via HTTPS. There's no more HTTP connection to 3CX from unsecure networks, as the internet has been completely removed for the security reasons of the product. And from there on, basically, the user can use his extension as it used to be before, with just 10 more steps you needed to cover until you get to this point, which perfect for drop shipping, for cloud server deployments. I think this will be a big boost. It's currently implemented for SNOM, Yealink, HTAG, and Funwell phones, which all support this provisioning message, and I hope you like it to use it.
We have some questions on the SBC, and I'd like to inform all our users that we're going to have a new version of the SBC, which is much more performant than the version 14, with many bug fixes, especially one when the internet disconnected or the small remote office lost its internet for whatever reason. The SBC can recover immediately from this. When the internet comes back, we guarantee that your local office is immediately connected to the PBX. We have encryption, multi-threading on the SBC, and also we're delivering traffic using UDP to avoid we completely eliminated any jitters that were there in version 14, especially when you had phones with no jitter buffer behind the SBC. Those phones were the phones that suffered most. So we have made a lot of tests on the SBC, and depending on the number of calls you can make depends on the uplink you have.
I'm seeing a question from Dave about from Chris, is the free FQDN available in the free edition? Thank you for that question. Yes, it is. After 1 year though, the free edition, to retain the updates to the firmwares and to retain the FQDN, you'd have to buy maintenance for the free edition, or the commercial edition, of course. But in the first year, it's all free.
Shortly from William England, define one zip trunk, one trunk with 10 calls. Yes, possible. However, free edition means 8 simultaneous calls, so you will have 2 calls you cannot use from your trunk. But in this situation, yes, it would be possible to have a trunk with multiple simultaneous calls available. However, it must be the only one. You can't use another PSTN gateway, no fallback web provider. These things are only available in the commercial edition.
What else?
Some questions on
Shall we do one
BLF?
more each?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The BLF via soft phone in version 15. We've had this a number of times in comments here. Yes, we understand that it's a problem to configure on each desk BLF. We're going to try to make that provisionable. So if you have configured, for example, 5 keys for your hard phone or in the BLF tab, we're going to try and make it that when 3CX you provision the phone via the welcome email, or 3CX still goes to the server anyway to provision the configuration, we'll also pick this BLF information and display it on the BLF side panel. It would be also nice, I'm seeing here, and I agree also, to let certain users configure some BLF keys. That also will depend on rights, because it's a question of rights. Maybe there are the group rights, and some users have to be added to certain groups. This is also controlled by rights, so maybe the admin does not want to give rights to monitor the activities of other people. So we have also that problem to tackle. However, we're going to be working on this, yes.
I've seen a lot of questions about group voicemail. We do have limited group voicemail support. What I suggest is please create an entry in the ideas forum, and I'm sure with the amount of questions I've seen, we'll be able to look at that, exactly what is required, and look to add that. So I've also noticed, talking again about the appliance, will it also support 32-bit? No, you must really look for a 64-bit version. All the modern versions of this, and we're talking $70, are 64-bit. So look for the 64-bit versions.
Yes, there are 2 versions of those, and the 64 is more performant.
Yeah.
Maybe I just wrap up the question to the BLF, because another question, why the user can't set its own BLF key? I think the balance becomes to a tipping point when the license keys and the business becoming larger, because maybe in a 5-man friendly environment where everybody knows everybody, you sit around one big desk, then you could say, yeah, well, configure your own BLF buttons and be happy with it. The moment you go a little bit to the bigger license schemes, of course you become like Active Directory self-group policing for something, and you don't want that the secretary have actually from the reception desk the BLF key of the CEO, can monitor it, and if she feels lucky, just to press on the button and maybe takes the call for the CEO. So you need to see it from 2 perspectives, when it's needed, when it's not needed. There must be a right which controls this feature, and this is not so easy, as I just described, to implement this so everybody will be satisfied with it. So we need to make one version of this which will come out at a given point, so that you all out there will be happy while using this small, medium, and the enterprise businesses, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We have one from Paul. Paul Coat. Can we update the certificates and or add replace certificates without reinstalling the entire system? Well, sorry, the recommended way is to uninstall and reinstall, and when the wizard is designed to help you, first of all, narrow down the questions required and set up the installation with the certificates from the wizard. If you know one thing or two about Nginx, you can, but keep in mind that now version 15 is very much network, even more network dependent than before, because before you could install 3CX without the need for certificates or without configuring your web server. Everything was done by the installation. But now things change a bit, yeah? So we have a communication with Let's Encrypt. We have a lot of things we depend from the internet. So yeah, it has to be done in the stage where it should be done. So that's the installation step.
you can actually say version 15 and the 3.6 domain gets you for free a Dune DNS service as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's another 15 bucks you can save by just using our own domain. For people converting, of course, which don't have our own certificate in 14 but their own domain name, the transition will be very easy. Just set a CNAME for the first time reprovisioning request of the phones to the PBX, because these phones were anyway set to trust all. So the phone will load the new configuration, it will learn the new domain, it will reboot, and from there on you transitioned out of this one-way street of self-signed certificates, which gives you more hassle, I think, than
I agree,
benefit.
absolutely. For what we're giving in version 15, it makes the effort required to get all this is just to reinstall. I think it's a valid compromise. All the things you get and the money we let admins save, and the yearly commitment to the new certificates, and it's a big advantage, I think.
Okay. I think since there are so many questions, I'd like to thank you very much for all the input. If you have had questions unanswered, please feel free to post them on the blog. If you have feature requests, please post them on the ideas forum, and we'll try to answer as many as we can there over the next few days. We'll be releasing Monday. In the meantime, you can download 3CX from our website today. So thank you very much, Stefan. Thank you, Nick. Thank you everybody. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us, and we look forward to hear your feedback on version 15.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.